How would you like to make your first million? And today we have Julie Cole with us, and she is a co-founder of Mabel's Labels, the award-winning company that grew from a basement startup, wow, like Steve Jobs, to a multi-million-dollar brand. Whoa, wow. A recovered lawyer and a mom of six children.
I know.
She now she now is senior director, best-selling author, and one of Canada's most recognized voices in entrepreneurship. Oh, that's amazing. An award-winning speaker and media contribution. Whoa, good fellow speaker. And Julie is known for her wit, wisdom, and passion for supporting a small business and women entrepreneurs. So this question is right in your backyard. What are the 5 steps that you recommend actually to the entrepreneurs to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Right. Well, I think, before you're making that million, you got to make sure you're only going to make that million if your service or your product, if your business makes sense. So I'm going to say first thing that we did here at Mabel's Labels, I started it with 3 other women, is that we found a gap in the marketplace and you need to understand your why. Why are you starting the business? So that's one, why. And for us, it was we were solving a problem. There was a product missing from the market. We wanted to create a product. We were young moms, our kids were losing things, and there wasn't a good labeling system available that was very durable and highly personalized and very cute. So we knew our why was the gap in the marketplace. And the other why, for me especially, was that at that time, the eldest of my 6 children was just 3, but he was diagnosed with autism. And I didn't think a legal career would have the flexibility that I needed in order to provide the support I wanted to for him and needed to for him. So that's when it made sense to start a business. So that I would say is the first one, your why. And for us, it was very much around solving a problem. I think you also have to understand if you're going to make money, where are you going to get the money to spend the money to make the money, right? So are you going to be doing this on your own? Are you bootstrapping this business? Are you getting loans? Are you getting love money from like a family member or your dad? Or are you getting investors, angel investors? Are you pitching? Are you doing? So how are you going to fund this thing? Because you don't just get $1 million without putting out some money, right? So you have to have a very good understanding of that, and you have to understand finances. So that would be 2, I would say. I think another thing you really have to understand is, does the market need what you're offering? Who are your competitors? What's your competitive advantage? What's your edge? Do you have a story? Do you have a personal brand that you can bring to it? Because it's that personal brand that's going to differentiate you in the marketplace. So you have to have a very good understanding of the competitive landscape if you are in fact filling that niche and what you can do there. So do you have a market? And then of course, the fourth thing, how are you going to market? How are people going to know about this? So you have to have an understanding of like where your customer is. Do you know who your customer is? Are they somebody who reads magazines? Are they somebody who's on LinkedIn? Are they somebody, for me, the moms are all on Instagram. So where do we have to be? We have to be on Instagram. Do you know where your market is, how they want to be marketed to, and do you have a plan about reaching them? Because you can have the best product in the world or the best service in the world, and if nobody knows about it, you're not making that first million. And then I think finally, a very important thing, I would say the fifth point of getting any kind of movement, any kind of growth is, do you have a network? Do you have mentors? Do you have a community of supporters? Are you connected? Do you have all of those things? Because entrepreneurship can be very lonely, and you can get in your own head, and the brain gremlins can tell you things. You need to make sure, we always say your network is your net worth. So make sure that you're connecting with people who can help you.
Wow, what a great story. And here in Unstoppable Podcast, we are great supporters of mompreneurs. We are rooting for you because you rock and roll. I don't have kids,
Yeah.
but I have a nephew, and I think that when I see the mom, my brother has a business with the partner, and they running the business and having the kid. Oh my God, it's a gold medal. Very
It's
intense.
look, when you talk about, like, the first thing
Oh,
I
I
said,
see.
why, like, you need to understand, like, you need to figure out, like, are you going to be how
and
you have
when
the capacity of managing it all, right?
and this thing,
Yeah.
like, entrepreneurs, oh, I can work 24 by 7 in my business. Well, if you're a partner, you have to be very effective because my brother and his partner, when they work, they need to do only 4 5 hours. That's it, six, because when the kid arrives, that's it. There is no more
I know, Harry.
concentration,
You
so
know
they have to
what?
be very very effective. Yeah,
I,
very
I, I
effective.
agree. And I think you make a very good point. And I talk about this often is that people romanticize this idea of entrepreneurship and they think they're going to have so much flexibility and they're going to do all the TED Talks and book deals and things like that. But, and I know because I was in that basement making labels till
Hmm.
2 a.m. and then getting up with the
That's
kids at 6
uh,
a.m., right? That's people romanticize
I saw it
entrepreneurship
with
and it's a
my
lot
eyes.
of
I
work.
saw it with
Yeah.
my eyes, and like for example, you have a great story, well, from a basement to $1 million, but I see the journey with my own eyes from my family, and this is a very intense and very productive. We interview 500 millionaires here. They are all entrepreneurs. Okay, and most of them they are male, and we're gonna touch a little bit more on that. But when we see always, okay, I work at my business and I make it work the first 2 year, even me, right? My first million, it took me 2 years, and I was Monday to Sunday working in the business, right? That was my only
Yeah.
priority. I don't have kids. I didn't. Let me see if I had a girlfriend back then. At the first 2 years, I didn't even have time for a girlfriend.
She
That's how
probably got rid
intense
of
it
you.
was.
She probably
That
was like, I'm not dating you. You're too busy with your business.
Yeah, yeah, that was intense. So
Yeah.
imagine doing the same thing with the kid when you have to be very effective. The few hours that you have to work, and I think that builds character, make you be very productive,
Yeah.
very assertive. Because especially moms, the kids
For sure,
like
Harry.
I
You
ask
make
you
a good
things and
point.
you have to answer,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and that's the thing. And you think about it, and especially me with 6 kids, it's, there is this idea that you have flexibility, and flexibility is great. And I have used that flexibility in having my own business, but it doesn't get your work done for you. So the work still needs to get done. And maybe it's just at
And it's the
midnight, not
same.
at
It's the
3 in the
same for all
afternoon.
every business. Yeah, it's
So
not that
true.
because you have this business, you're gonna work less. No, every woman can fit. Get your first million. Those ones that have achieved that, we all know what it's gonna take, and nobody's gonna do it for you. No one. You have to
That's
do
right.
it.
And it's funny, Harry, too, because people think, oh, it'll be nice to be my own boss. But at the end of the day, they think they don't have a boss. But when you're an entrepreneur, your customers are your boss, your suppliers are your boss, your co founders are your boss. You have more bosses. One boss doesn't sound so bad in the end after all.
No, and then, then when you have a job, for example, when you have your corporate job as a lawyer, or if somebody come and tell you, oh, you have to do this, you can tell, hold on, this is not my job. You can talk to somebody else. My job is this, this, and this. When you have your own business, everything is your job. You cannot tell you,
Everything is your
oh, this
job.
is
And you
me.
know what? That actually brings up a good point. And I think it's important to note this that I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they get in their own way to making that first million. And I understand you're trying to do all the things and you don't have a lot of money. So you're trying to manage all of that. But I think you really have to have that growth mindset and you have to be thinking, okay, how am I going to grow the business? I see too many entrepreneurs be like, I'm going to do my own taxes and it takes them a week. Meanwhile, if they got somebody to do it for them, it would take that person 20 minutes. They'd pay them a couple $100 and then they could focus on what they're good at. So I think, entrepreneurs to me, I feel like a very important thing is to get contracts person who just writes some policy for you or helps you with a hire. You don't have to do that big hire yourself, but contractors can be an entrepreneur's best friend. And if you get so in the weeds that you're doing everything yourself, it's going to be very hard to grow.
And then, well, I am the beginning. You have to do everything because there is no funding, no money. We have to do it. But as soon as we increase the sales, we need to identify those
Yes.
tasks that take more time, and we can uh, give it to somebody else. So, Banjuli, my question to you: what is your message that you have for moms working in corporate, listening to this podcast. By the way, this podcast, a lot of entrepreneurs, people that want to be an entrepreneur, but also people that are in corporate that want to shift to the entrepreneurial world. They are
Yeah.
listening. So, what's the message that you have, especially for women that they are in
Yeah.
and they are listening and they say, "Wow, I wish that I have that courage because they are in this golden cage. Okay, they have a big house, they have a very good salary, but at the end of the day, there is no time to spend with your kids. And the other day, I visit a friend, and they have a little girl, and the friend was telling me, Harry, you know what? I need to start to do my business and something else because 9 to 5 doesn't work for me anymore because I have the
Yeah.
kids, so I need to pick up the girl, whatever. So the 9 to 5
Yeah.
thing that I was very happy with, now it doesn't work for me, so I need to look for another
Yeah, I think that
solution.
that traditional workforce system was built at a time when men were in the workforce and were fully supported by a full-time woman at home who took care of everything. So that 9 to 5 sort of work model is so expired. It doesn't work for working families anymore because I don't have a wife at home taking care of everything while I'm at work and who's going to have dinner on the table and who's going to entertain my clients. And that doesn't exist anymore. So our traditional workforce is so expired. And a lot of women are catching on to this and being like, hold on a second. So I would say to the women or the moms who are thinking, oh, I want to change things up. I've got this idea. I would say, look at those first 5 things that I said. I also think, make sure you don't glamorize it or, romanticize it, like I said. But the other thing, too, is really managing those expectations. And I mean your expectations and the expectations of your family. Because in those early days, when you're starting a business, you're not paying yourself. To your point, Harry, everything you do is going back into the business, right? You're doing everything yourself. So what does that look like for your family? It looks like maybe you put the kids to bed and you don't grab a glass of wine and throw Netflix on with your partner. You go to the basement and make labels till midnight. Maybe it means you don't buy that second car. You don't go on that holiday because you don't have that other salary coming in. So if you have a
It's
partner
gonna
and
take
they are
something.
not, yeah, if your
There is a
partner is
price you
not
pay.
board, yeah, if they're not fully on board, it's not going to work. And your kids, everybody has to know how this is going to impact the family life. And it's not going to be glamorous for a very long time, if ever, because, a lot of female founded businesses, less than 2% of female founded businesses get funding in the first part. So we have a huge
Mm-hmm.
gap there.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a very huge gap for exits. I forget what the percentage, but it's very low for how many women owned companies actually or women founded companies even make $1 million a year. That's very low. And then when we talk about exiting, also women are making exits at a lower selling point. So we have a lot of work in the entrepreneurial space for women. There's a lot of work to be done, but I mean, we are making gains slowly but surely. But I think, the managing expectations and knowing what it's really going to look like and being realistic about that is key.
We are 2 points. Yeah. Number one, in terms of women. Okay. I remember my first employees. All my employees at the beginning, my property business, they were women. Okay, and they were very assertive. Okay, into the point that when they didn't like something, they would tell me straight away, Harry, we don't like that. Harry, change that. And I knew that when the guests give me headache with something, I had to really look into it. So man, they are like, okay, we're friends, whatever. I'm not generalizing. I'm saying what I noticed in my company. So I decided uh, to stick with the girls. They were the safe force, and they were very assertive and give me feedback straight away. The other thing is, I interviewed the of Zimbabwe, the Minister of Economy of Zimbabwe, a while ago, and he told me, Harry, we have a program in Zimbabwe where we lend the money to the workers, okay, men and women, and they take this money, they grow some vegetables, and then with the money they make, they pay back the loan, and then when they come in, we give them more money, and then they can expand like this, and it's a program that's working very well. But he told me, however, we are very happy with women because the rate of women's giving back the loan, borrowing more, and and do the reinvesting and bring it back is way higher than the men. So he told me government is very happy to lend to women. I mean, of course, the women are gonna mess up with it. They have kids. The kids need to eat out of this. So they make sure that they sell what they're gonna sell to give back the loan, so they can have more loans and grow and have a steady income for the family. So to the topic like this, if women's are, in my opinion, amazing as a workforce. Second one, they have the same ability, probably more responsibility to handle money than men. Men, we take a lot of risks more than what we suppose. Um, this I'm not inventing this. I'm a person. I know John Gray, the author of the women, the women, men stand for Mars and women stand for Venus. Okay, he sold 50 million books, and he told me, Harry, we're different. I'm telling you, I sold 50 million books. Okay, so the other thing is, in order to attract talent, for example, we have an employee that when she started to work with us 9, 10 years ago, don't remember, she didn't have any kids. Now she has 3 kids. So as employers, in order for us to keep the talent, we have to be flexible because
That's right.
we're not gonna lose her.
You
I
don't
actually
lose
was
her.
speaking with her before you, and she told me, no, my computer break down. I said, what do you need? How much is the new computer? We send it to you. You know what I mean? So, but that we have with that employee at the beginning have nothing to do with the dynamic that happened now. How we know? She was very young when she started with us. We didn't know that she's gonna have 3 kids. So now she has
Sure.
so the whole thing changed, and the time of coming to work changed, and with more kids, things change. But as employer, we have been adapted because we want to keep the talent.
That's right.
Okay,
And I think it need to respond to this. I mean, we learned
if you want to
we
keep the
learned.
talent.
That's right. And we learned through a lot of the lockdown time during COVID was that workers can work very effectively and productively not going to the office. And now a lot of corporations have said you need to come back, and people are losing 2 hours a day on their commute. They're not seeing their family. They're not. And I just find that it really is women because, you make a point about women employees and having to be flexible, and it's because women are still carrying the load at home. Home is still not democratic. There's a care gap. So a lot of like the default parenting, mom's taking care of, okay, who's booking the dentist appointments, who's picking up the birthday presents, who's making sure the homework's done, who's meeting with the teacher. All of this, dads are more involved, but we know statistically all of this is still falling on mom. So if home
The kids
is
cost
not
money,
as
yeah.
democratic, oh yeah. So if home is not as democratic,
Because
so
a lot of
these
money you have to pay for the
conversations have to
school,
happen
for
at.
the
Tell me about it.
uniforms.
I have kids in college.
Yeah. Cynthia.
I
And
know
then they
all
say,
about it.
okay, you know what? I joined the volleyball team. You what? Yes, I joined the volleyball team. And after you have an email from the school, I said, listen, the kids have joined the volleyball team, so you need to buy
The
the
uniform and
outfit, the trainers, So this is how it's gonna go, and then you go by surprise. And this is less fun, of course, that you have to grow your business. Okay, so Julie, you tell me. What do you think that is a problem that, like I told you, the example of the minister of Zimbabwe, yes, real example with real government data. Yeah, he told me personally to me. It's also in the press. So, why women have the same capacity or probably better capacity to be responsible with the capital?
So
Why, when it comes to
yeah.
sales, they are amazing because this is a personal experience that I have. And third, where we have to, as entrepreneurs, take back this idea, the 9 to 5, and be flexible if we want to keep the talent. So you tell me, what is the problem? What is happening? That because if for me as an entrepreneur it doesn't make sense. I'm an entrepreneur, and I work with whatever is best for my business. And if I have to be flexible to keep the talent, I'll do it. If I have to employ women because they perform better than men, I'll do it because I'm an entrepreneur. So I do whatever is better for my business. Why we have those challenges in society? In London, when we go
Yeah.
to tech, women in tech, you hear the stories that they're crazy. Amazing projects and nobody give them funding, and it's a disaster
So
in
it's
London.
it's a bit of a cycle. So I mean, we know women are starting businesses at twice the rate of men, and they're getting less than 2% of funding. So women are not supported. People are not
Why?
putting their
Why?
money. They're
What's
not
the
putting their
reason?
money where their mouth is.
We need
Well,
to find the source.
I'm going to tell you what I think part of the problem is that we need to start elevating women. So women, once they have their families, are not getting to a point, they're, end up behind in their career. So they're not ending up in C-suite. They're like, that's going to be too hard for me to manage. So they're not getting to these high levels where they're making a lot of money. If we have more women making money and more women selling their businesses at, for millions of dollars, all the women I know who have sold their businesses for that kind of money are putting it directly back into funding women's businesses. So we have women who are funding women's businesses, but we need more women at the top. We need to get that pipeline going, funding more women's business, supporting women at home, supporting women in employment, supporting our community, our services, so much. If there is more support for women, then we will see it's better for our society. We even know that companies
Government should
that
be about it also.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Is
Yeah,
the,
but
the
don't everybody.
government should be doing something about it also. It's
Yeah.
better for them to
Yes.
make more money, collect more tax if you have
Yes.
more business.
Exactly.
So
And in
creative
that way,
effort. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And from a government perspective, it's like yes, provide free childcare, provide good health care, good education,
How
so
about
that parents aren't paying for private. There's so much that can be done. This is a whole thing. Generally speaking, women need more money. Like we don't want more
Absolutely.
inspiration. We don't want more inspiration. We don't want more all the mentors and the conferences. Give us show money.
Exactly. Give us the funding because you guys
Yeah.
know what to with it. And then I think that one of the problems is that all these busy funds, all these capitals, they are managed by men, right? So clearly
And yeah.
they funds, and most of the people in government, they are also men. Even I
Yeah.
do speaking events, and when I invited to speak in the conference, and I look at the green room, is male dominated. You see two, three women, right? And the rest of the speakers they are men. So I think we're missing out the point here that if we empower women and we help women to create a framework, we will be society will be surprised what they can
Yeah.
achieve. I'm a big
There's some.
fan of it. Yeah. And by the way, I train when my speakers, to my speakers at least, actually more women than men attend. Yeah, because when we do the previews and when we conduct those trainings, helping people to become speakers and to speak of the business in public, we create a framework where the women are comfortable, and more women, actually more women than men,
Yes, but are they
attend to
making
the
money from
workshop
it?
all over the world.
But they're attending. But if you, at the end of the year, how much money are they making off their speaking compared to the men? Women get asked to speak for free. They are asked to do things for free all the time, even for
Unless they do their own
Women's Day.
events, which is something that we're helping them and creating the
Yeah.
framework. Okay, like what that's what I tell the women. Look, if nobody speak you to, if nobody invite you to speak, you do your own event. Just do it yourself. Okay, like exactly like you said, nobody's gonna do it for you. Okay, and I think women, nobody's going to do it for you guys people. So you have to, exactly what you said, to create a women empowering women
We need
seeing
allies.
funds.
We need allies. We need many men who are investors to see the value in women founded companies. We need men who are invited to speak on International Women's Day to say no, pass the mic to a woman. I am not accepting the
I
speaking.
know the
I
value
need
there
men
because
to
I've
say
yeah.
when men look around that green room and it's full of men, say I'm not going to speak at these events unless you have 50% women at the events. We need men also as allies to stand up,
Exactly.
and because at the end of the day, having more women leaders is good for our society. We know that women founded companies are more philanthropic, which is better for society. We see higher rates of employee happiness and satisfaction. So there's good argument to why women should be ruling the world.
I'm a big supporter. I'm a big
Love it.
supporter because, like
Okay.
I said, I'm very to men that have worked for me in my company, and they have done a lot of impressive job. I have plumbers and electricians, you see. But wow, I can tell that women have made a big difference, and especially in the areas of sales and operations. The I don't see, for me, an operational manager to be a man, because we always have a woman for operation, you see, because they organize everything. You go there, you go, and everything runs smoothly. But anyway, so we had to work together, okay, and create frameworks. And like I said, to have a vision, to if we're gonna have an event, okay, guess what happened at the events? Well, because we have more women than men, and the women are speakers. That's what happened when we do an event. A lot of women come as well as men. You got more people. You see, and on the stages when women speak, they resonate more with women. I remember that I do the speaking usually with Lily, my partner, and then I speak and all the boys clap and everything. Harry, oh, it's amazing. But when Lily speak, after she finished, they go on there and
Yeah.
ask her questions and they
Make
want
those
to know
connections.
anything about me.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
want to
Harry
make those
amazing, Harry
connections.
amazing. But
Yeah.
they go and speak
Yeah.
with Lily. They connect
Yep.
more with Lily because they know where she's from. So tell us about your book then, Julie, because that's the other thing. Writing a book is like having a
Yeah.
baby. I don't have baby,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
is
It's a big job. And
oh yeah,
yeah, I got mine done. I wrote it during that COVID time because at that time, I mean, I couldn't travel to speak at conferences. My business, we were running, obviously production had to come in, but mostly we were working from home. I had a bunch of kids sent home from college. It was pretty wild. So I thought,
it was
I have
busy
the
at home.
time now. Yeah. So I have the time now. If I don't get this book done during this time where I'm not getting on flights and I'm not, away. So I really hunkered down and got it done. It was on the kind of my to-do list for a while. And this is it. It's called Like a Mother, Birthing Businesses, Babies, and a Life Beyond Labels. And in it, I'm talking about my business lessons, my life lessons, my parenting lessons. So it's kind of like, it's an easy read. It's full
The
of like
cover is great,
hacks.
very
Aw,
good book.
thanks. I put lipstick on for that photo. And yeah, so it's full of really great information. It's a good read. You can pick it up at any like bookstore online or go to Amazon. Again, it's called Like a Mother, Birthing Businesses, Babies, and a Life Beyond Labels. And you can also actually find it if you go to the Mabels Labels website, which is mabelslabels.com. Obviously, you want to do that to check out our incredible products. But if you go to mabelslabels.com/Julie Cole, there you will see kind of my press sheet and you can order a book from there. So we've got kind of me, that's my little headquarters online. So you can go check that out.
So tell us about your company, right? So you are three founders there.
Yeah, so I'm the
Oh
last
wow,
remaining. Yeah, we were four. It was my sister and two friends
four.
of ours from college. Yeah, so it's a lot.
Wow,
And
four
then
founders.
yeah, so it was 22 years ago we started, and like we said, we started in the basement, and now I'm the only partner. Now we went through an acquisition. About 10 years ago, and the others have moved on and done other things, and I've stayed with the company and still really enjoying it. So we've grown from a couple of moms in the basement to 50 full-time employees. We have production
Wow.
facility in Toronto, production facility in California, in Brea, California. So we have customers all over the world, and yeah, it's gone really well. And also, my kids have grown up, and they're all doing great too. So it's all worked out.
So then, what is the message you have for women in corporate that want to do the transition to entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think, make sure you are connecting with other women who have walked the path. I mean, now, when we started 22 years ago, it was a very lonely journey. There was no online, there were no podcasts, there was nothing, no Facebook groups you could join. I mean, maybe you went to like a local Chamber of Commerce networking night, but that was it. Now there are resources and there are innovation centers that support small business and there are grants out there. So talk to people who have walked the journey. And this is something that women do very well, is using our network. So don't be afraid. My motto was always, no's are free. You might as well ask the question. The worst that can happen is they say no. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are helpers, people you can ask questions to, and make sure you have, those mentors in place and you're really into your community.
So what was your biggest challenge in business and how you overcome that challenge?
Well, I mean, there have been a few, of course. I think the first challenge was finding machinery that would do what we wanted it to do. We didn't think it was going to be as challenging as it was, but we did a lot of R&D and then we found it. Often what a big challenge can be when you're bringing something new to market is letting the market know that they need your product. For us, We didn't really have that challenge. Once our product was out there and parents saw it at like the daycare drop-offs or wherever, they saw it in the wild, they were like, Mabel's Labels, tell me about this. I need this. So even in those early days before social media, word of mouth or word of mom was very impactful for us. Moms were talking about our products. So that was great. We had a few nice little PR hits, but that challenge of letting the market know that you're there can be a big problem, and letting them know that they need you. But we didn't necessarily have that issue. Also, another thing that can be very challenging is having 4 partners, right? For us, it was very valuable because it kind of divided up the risk. It divided up the financial risk, and also brought 4 very different skill sets and brains and talent to the table. And we also then could divide and conquer. It wasn't me doing everything. One person could be worrying about finding the machinery. One person could be worrying about finances. One person can be worrying about suppliers. One could be worrying about marketing and PR. So we were able to do that. And I think that divide and conquer mentality is what led to our very early success.
Oh, wow. Very impressive. So if someone is in love with our conversation, how people can find you, how this process works with us?
Yes. So of course, like I mentioned, go to mabelslabels.com. Check me out, mabelslabels.com/Julie Cole. I am very on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I do lives there with leaders. I'm on Instagram. I'm in all the places. So I'm easy enough to find, Harry.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Julie, for the broadcast. And I'm glad that you're big fan of I'm also on there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for the broadcast. I think you are amazing. You're an inspiration. Your story is fantastic, and we have to continue to developing this framework for women to grow and to progress. I think society is gonna do better. Government is gonna collect more tax, so they're missing out. VCs and venture capitalists, they also missing out big time. Yeah, and I see a lot of, and not in the tech space, but in the entrepreneurial world in general. So financially, I think that they have to make sense also in terms of profit. And I think that if we give a little bit more framework and support to women, from government, from the communities, from us entrepreneurs, men and women, we will be amazing and a better world for those kids.
For sure. And we want these systems, and we want to support in these ecosystems, and we definitely want to make sure that we are supporting where we should. So thank you so much.
We have to change with the legacy also. Okay, if you want to attract talent and to keep the talent in your organization, okay, you have to do whatever it takes. Yeah, I'm doing it, and it's okay. Whatever it takes to keep the talent,
That's right. I mean, talent acquisition is expensive.
If you don't come 9 to 5, I get rid of you, and
No, that's
someone
pointless.
already trained that. Somebody have worked with me so many years that every time that I talk to this employee, I want to do something, and I want it like this. When she comes back, she comes with something 10 times better than what I thought.
That's right. Exactly. And we should measure people on. We need to measure people on their productivity, not their presenteeism in the office.
Absolutely, and the results they bring. So who cares what time can
exactly
can do the
Love
job.
that.
Anyway, so thank you so much, and for all of you following the podcast, see you in our next episode on Unstoppable: How Brave Entrepreneurs like Julie break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.